Warning: the content ahead may be frightening or distressing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. If you like this content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I don't remember the flash. Everyone talks about it like they felt a pressure, or heard a pop, or sensed something pass over the world. For me, it was just a blink. 1 second I was scrolling through my phone. The next I was staring into a void so absolute it felt like my skull was full of black ink. Everyone else screamed. I didn't. I was too shocked to make a sound, too stunned by the sheer nothing. The world went blind together. Hospitals overflowed. Traffic froze. Planes fell. People cried out for help, but no one could help themselves. It was chaos in its purest form, and for 3 days I lived inside it. 3 days of stumbling, begging, starving, clawing my way through darkness. 3 days of hearing others break down around me. 3 days of thinking this was just some natural disaster we'd recover from. And then, on the 4th morning, I opened my eyes and saw. Not light, not the sun, not my bedroom ceiling. I saw them. Colossal silhouettes, tall enough to pierce the low clouds, standing silently in places where buildings used to be. Their limbs resembled antlers, branches, tendrils, structures that should not exist. Their bodies were made of geometry that fought itself, angles folding into curves, curves flattening into dimensions that hurt to look at. One of them stood outside my apartment building. Another hunched over the ruins of the grocery store. Another perched on the water tower like a bloated skeletal bird made of broken glass and roots. I screamed internally, because screaming externally would have gotten me killed. But the worst part wasn't their size. It wasn't their shapes. It was the fact that they moved slowly and deliberately, bending down to observe us. The blind masses wandering beneath them, like farmers watching livestock graze. And everyone else just continued stumbling around, unaware of the monsters brushing past them. That's when I realized the blindness wasn't caused by them. The blindness was allowed by them. A mercy, a cover, a way to exist among us without panic or rebellion. And then another realization. They assumed we couldn't see them. For a moment I considered screaming, running, begging someone to tell me they saw it too. But instinct saved me. I froze. I kept my eyes half-lidded. I let my head sway like I was still blind. If I wanted to live, I had to pretend. That day, I walked among them. And they walked among us. Their movements created wind-like currents that smelled of rust and ancient stone. Their shadows bent like living things, writhing around street signs and trees. They whispered to each other in tones so deep the pavement vibrated. And every time one passed beside me, I held my breath until my lungs burned. But there were smaller ones too, child-sized, or maybe dog-sized, hunched creatures with too many elbows, too many joints, faces like masks carved out of wet clay. These ones inspected us up close. They sniffed, they clicked. They touched people's faces with long, dripping fingers to make sure we were still blind. And then one of them, one with an exposed jaw and spiraling eyes, stopped in front of me. I felt its breath on my cheek. I let my eyes go dull. I whispered, "Please, please don't." It let out a grunt and moved on. My legs nearly gave out. Every day after that became a performance, fumbling for doors, knocking things over, bumping into walls, because if I acted too capable, they would know. But seeing them was damaging me. Every glance was a migraine. Every movement they made throbbed against my skull. Every whisper rattled my bones like they were tuning forks. It was maddening. Even the sky wasn't safe anymore. Behind the clouds, something enormous shifted, like a sea creature rolling beneath the waves. And once, only once, I saw a pupil the size of a stadium blink above the atmosphere. They weren't just here, they were everywhere. I should have kept pretending. I should have never looked directly at any of them. But one night, exhaustion broke me. I met the eyes of the one outside my building, not intentionally. A moment of weakness, a fraction of a second. It froze. The entire neighborhood seemed to stop breathing. A tremor ran up its impossible frame, and dozens of its antler-like protrusions turned toward me like antennae sensing prey. I snapped my gaze downward, but it was too late. It had seen me see it. The creature tilted its head, a movement so slow and heavy it sounded like groaning metal. My vision blurred at the edges. Blood filled my mouth. My ears rang. And in that moment I understood why they preferred us blind. Looking at them is permission for them to look back. They do not tolerate awareness, not from prey. Since that night, I can't stop seeing things even when I close my eyes. Shapes behind my eyelids, movements in the walls, shadows in my own pupils. I think the creature is watching me through my mind now, the same way a human watches an ant wander around unaware it's being observed. I still pretend to be blind during the day, but sometimes I slip, sometimes I look, and whenever I do, I feel it get closer. Not physically, inside. I know the truth now. It doesn't want to kill me. It wants to change me into something that cannot look away.